which is a subject that is very dear to many Bermudians right now. And we're going to engage in some conversation in the first 45 minutes to 1 hour. You know how we like to do it, people. When we have guests, we want to have conversation. But you have your questions, your critical thinking questions ready at the top of the hour. Because we want to address this whole thing. Well, I frame it in the context of, are you a pension prisoner or are you a pension patriot? The social protection plan. And Dr. Anand, I'm just saying, when I read the article, it struck home, especially as someone who is going to be a recipient, very soon. And there are so many of us who are going to be recipients. So it really was driven home in terms of your article, in terms of the implications of this, pension reform. And what does it mean for, yes, those who are leaving now, those who are 60 to 65, those who may be 50 or 55, all right? And it has some different scenarios for an aging population. And while we focus so much on the aging population, given that we are in the business of education and enrichment, and I'm a believer in enrichment of young people, youth, because if you're not investing in them, you're not investing in the future. And so I wanted to begin there. And this is for you Generation Z folk, millennials, right? The Z's and the Y's, they say. Millennials and post-millennials. When I look at that age demographic, if right now those of us who are the aging population and aging out, and those who are coming in 55, 60, 65, who stand to get something, but what? We'll see, because the economic circumstances may dictate the final outcome. But when I think of this younger generation who's coming through, who, if we're talking about and listening to government increasing the age of retirement, man, what's at risk for that generation? Because what's at risk for them is probably the age they could be working until they're 75, man. So I want to get from you, starting off, your perspective on that scenario of that age demographic, Generation Z, millennials, what the future looks like for them in terms of pension reform.
Thank you, and good evening, listeners. Thank you for having me. I believe the question is really dicey question. If you're looking at the policy, which means that when looking at the Gen Z from within 25 to 35, looking at them from a long term, I believe by the time that they reach that is going to be a big problem. If now we really already struggling with those old population that is about to go out of it, and the young one that are coming, there's going to be a problem. So I believe one of the mechanisms that we can do at this time is to find a way to redesign it to suit them, because if they have to work almost like 30 years from now, 25 to 35, 30, 70 years, that means there have to be a proper reform that to factor them into the scenario, because now we don't even look at them at this time. And they are the future generation. And
exactly.
It's really, really important for us to look at them from that perspective, not from the short term, but the long term, because they are the ones that we need to factor them when we are considering this uplift. Because at the end of the day, when they reach that age category, it means that you are forcing them to create an exodus of not staying in because their revenues are not going to stay in. But if you're able to design a proper mechanism that will make them to stay in, they will be able to contribute for it to flow so that they can enjoy it. And that, trust me, is going to be a hurdle for them in the next 20 to 30 years' time when you're looking at this policy.
Right.
So one way that we can do is to try to find a mechanism where the government and in the whole union, various sectors, to sit down and design a proper policy through. There are so many models. For example, entrepreneurs, we need to look at them and target with an investment. There should be an investment that is attached to, for example, to the pension. They have to make it to grow because you're dealing with, we're talking about savings here.
Yeah.
And it's really important for you to save so that they can benefit when the time comes for them, the next 30 years, to be able to also enjoy that is in here currently.
I appreciate you starting off with that response because, and I deliberately, Carlos, I wanted to get right into the future. The now, yes, everyone's talking. We know we're dealing with an aging population that also is living longer, that also has, it places its challenges for the pension fund because we're living longer. But I wanted to begin with the future. And when you mention in terms of a different model, it's a model that we haven't heard. I haven't heard when you talk about the savings, but an investment model. And when I think of millennials and the youth generation coming through, who very entrepreneurial, right? They do have interest in the market, stocks. And so prior to the show starting, we were having conversation and I was sharing my experience with my plan when I was assistant professor at University of Dayton. When I went in 2003, they sat with me and laid out for me, if you're here in the long term, but this is your plan. Traditional plan, but it was blended. And the market plan. And a very conservative portfolio was presented to me. And they explicitly laid it out. And I appreciated it because they were thinking of me being there long term. If you're here, and this is how it was being presented. And I'm saying this in the same way I would speak to a younger person today. If it's government sitting with any civil servant, if you're a civil servant in the next 10 years, and you've put in this amount to get this out, if you invest, and with this conservative plan, here's what you stand to gain. That type of model represents a future model, I believe, for the youth generation. That's one model. Are there any other propositions or models, or even with what we currently have, that can be developed and built upon, improved upon, to assist that generation?
Yes, I believe there are so many models around that you can use as an analysis in that. So for example, taking from your explanation, that model speaks about the multiplier, savings multiplier. Even though you have to be consistent in you developing that portfolio, but the end result is that it's going to grow for you.
Yeah.
For example, in your time, when you do that, even when the 2008 hit, your model was still there, even though you took a hit, but it still grow up again.
Yeah.
And therefore, any pension that doesn't have a sustainable model to support the growth of it is bound to collapse. What I mean by collapse is that it's going to be depreciating. It's going to be going down, depleting over time. So you need to have a model that you can add to the pension model that you have, so that that can grow for their people, because they must know that even though I'm contributing to the economy, I'm saving it, there's another investment portfolio that I can add to what I have.
Yeah.
So that as this one goes, this will also grow for me. So the person will be, that will make them to be more comfortable in staying to work for a longer period of time, because they know that they are putting in something. There are various countries have got different models. For example, Netherlands and Denmark have got a model where the age people, they increase their retirement up to 5 years by giving them something model that grows for them. And therefore they know that even though I'm contributing, the government is supporting, there's another savings model that is helping me to grow my revenue stream bigger. And these are some of the models that need to be considered, because if you only base on the actuarial system of modeling, it will look at the technical aspect of it, doesn't look at the socioeconomic impact of it. And therefore, this model is something that needs to be inculcated into the pension scheme to allow it to grow. And if you put that into it, then it's going to be sustainable. So I think there are so many of them, we can look at them. So there is also one from Sweden that have got a very beautiful model, which is called the break. Now, this break allows you to be able to grow with time, and you can even take some as you go along, not as existing your pension out, but you can take some breaks and still the model grows for you. So I believe there are so many things. And in the Gen Z today are people who don't want to work for long life.
They're not working for 40 years.
Exactly.
I mean, I got colleagues of mine who just were honored as long service employees 40 years. I mean, they weren't too pleased with what they got as an honor.
Yes.
I mean, shoots. I mean, you know, $200 for 40 years acknowledgement. And I listened to that, and I had conversations about this. This is real talk.
Yes.
You work for an organization for 40 years, and you are acknowledged for your 40 years of service and get $50, $100, $200 certificate. And I'm saying, in a country as ours, and you've been here now, how long?
3.
3?
Yes.
Right? So cost of living, you know what Bermuda is all about.
The ceiling.
All right?
Yes.
So if you've been working 40 years, I would think that with a model that says, let me invest in you. You've put in 30, 40 years. And 30, 40 years, here's what you have accrued over so many years. Lou, you have the opportunity after your 40 years. Yes, I'm going to give you your trip to New York or wherever, but here's what your portfolio says for you.
Yes.
That's you doing business.
Yes.
With your employer, civil servant, government. But it also, like you said earlier, gives the employee a sense of, I think I want to stay here.
Yes.
You're investing in me. I'm reinvesting in me.
Yeah, exactly.
You're giving me the opportunity to multiply, yes, my worth and value with this type of plan.
Yes.
Now, I listen to that and I say, in the so-called country that is number one in cost of living, you will want to take care of your people. What a great opportunity to do this.
Yes.
So when I think of the Gen Zs, that's what their future could look like.
Yes.
When I think of the here and now, when we look at the here and now and place it in the context of the article that you wrote in terms of the pro and cons, right? And you clearly indicated that, I don't want to say sacrificial lambs, but I use that term. But nah, aging workers, no, what's been proposed, you a sacrificial lamb for some. And is that a fair categorization and label, especially for those who would be 60 to 65, who will be caught in this mix? As sacrificial lambs, if they stay in, post, let's say, 2027.
Yes.
I'm saying you stay in. And look, people, we're keeping it real. This isn't scaremonger. This is about your economic future. that people have to be thinking about.
Yes.
Aren't they placing themselves as sacrificial lambs on a hypothetical that, well, things might turn around, things might not. And if things don't, what is the plan? What is the model of plan in place, like we were talking about just now, that says, okay, I'm an investor in this?
I think those hypothetically speaking, as we say in the sacrificial lamb, at that age where they have worked so much, and there is a policy that is rolling in that is already trying to scare them away. They are in a position where they want to say that I'm not going to wait for this thing to come and hit me up. Many of them will take that decision and say that before they start 2027, I have to take, because remember, this policy, this reform is rolling, 10-year rolling reform. It's increasing by age categories. And because of that, so many people are not ready. Even they were not prepared. Let me use that right. They were not prepared for this post-shock. And as a result, many of them will panic and take their pension out, because if they don't, then you have to sacrifice for other years ahead of you again. And the people are not ready for that. And remember that because of this, the impact is that, even the short-term impact is that, let's say hypothetically we have only 100 people who want to take theirs out because they don't want to, and everybody's getting $100,000 as a lump sum. It's 1 million already gone, a depletion. All right. So there have to be a model where these sacrificial lambs are really inculcated into the system and say to you that, look here, this is the threshold. All those within this category, this will not have greater impact on you, because you want them to be prepared before they exit in the system, right? Which is not factored in. And therefore, most people will just try to jump out of the boat before it sinks. And that is a problem that the reform, they do not address from the socio-economic aspect of it. And I believe that one of the ways is that these people are being sacrificed. They are being sacrificed, whether we like it or not. It's not a right word to use for many people, because, I mean, we're talking about human capital.
Yeah.
And when dealing with human capital, our skill set is really important. And those people have got experienced skill set, and many of them going to jump out. And that is a big problem that the economy is going to face. I believe so.
And as we envision this here, certainly the human capital is at risk, but the cultural capital within the economy as we know it is of greater risk. And we talk about civil service. There are like 4,000, almost 4,500 civil servants, all right? About 3,000 plus are Bermudians. And I don't have the exact disaggregate age groups in terms of who's going. But when we look at those, knowing that you can work until you're 70, I know, and this is episodic, meaning I'm talking to people in the street, my age demographic, anyone who I know who is 65 to 68, right? I'm in that age range. I'm 67. I can tell you, and I've talked to over 100 plus people, hey, I'm going. And when I listen to that, it has dire consequences to me. And these are folk in education. These are folk in health. These are folk who are in customs. Some are in, not works in engineering, but certainly BPSU workers, great majority of them. And when I listen to them in this scenario, weighted against options, if the plan was a plan that was at least had hope in it, that I can still multiply my worth and value with the time I put in, they probably would have changed their mind. But now we have to prepare for a knowledge stream, which also has immigration issues. Now, in your scenario and in your discussion, how has that been factored into this here, recognizing every country is, we see what's happening in the U.S. around immigration matters for different reasons. But still, to me, they're interrelated. We recognize in Bermuda that we need to attract more to boost our economy. With this knowledge drain through civil service, I see a huge overturn of civil service as it relates to the 3,000 plus Bermudians who are in civil service. I could see, I'm of a generation, when I reflect upon education, as a child coming up in the 70s, that's a field that was predominantly, some will say it was a balance of contractual workers versus Bermudians, but it was more, at certain levels, more contractual workers. I see the risk of that reverting back to what it was in the early 60s and 70s. In your lens of this here, how do you see this turnover? And I think you mentioned in terms of the fields, education and healthcare probably being affected the most in this here.
Yes, I think the effects, let's look at it from two angles. From immigration, the outflow, the E, going out of it, right?
Yeah.
You're going to lose so many skill set workers. For example, it's going to reduce the pension base already, because fewer workers will contribute to the pension fund, which simply indicates where there is what is called lower inflows, and which is going to worsen the funds already.
Right.
The same E is also means that it will accelerate the aging working workforce. In other words, younger skilled workforce who leave, they will go.
Yeah, who are emigrating and going. For example, right now there's so much talk about the younger generation emigrating, going to the UK.
Yes.
I mean, UK has got its own issues. Now, as a matter of fact, it's the same issues, because its youth demographic are doing the same thing. They're going, not finding what they want to find in the UK economy, and they're going to neighboring European countries or former colonies.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's that reproduction. So as we're not meeting the needs of our youth, they're emigrating out
to outside
to make their living.
And which means that it's going to draw the pension sooner than planned.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is that is gonna increase pension liabilities. Right.
Talk to me about that.
Because older workers may simply retire earlier and take it and go abroad and draw. It will draw simply pensions. It will draw it out of it, and also is going to lead to what is called loss of institutional knowledge. Now, this is really, really extremely important, because critical public service continuity is going to go into the drain, and that is really going to affect it. For example, in terms of education, in terms of your policing, in terms of healthcare, those things you're going to lose them. And that is really gonna take it out of it, because it is better for you to have the IMI coming in than the outflows, because when you have immigration coming in, then it will result in increased contribution.
Right.
Because each of them who is going to make sure he's paying into the system, in other words, is going to improve, and the sustained fund is going to bring sustainability into the fund. Also, is going to simply rejuvenate the workforce. Simply younger immigrants can offset their aging demographics and come in, which is very good for the economy to enjoy from that. It will also lead to what is called, introduce you into what is called integrated cost, because when you put in proper saving mechanism, is going to make them to regenerate in, and that will make them to sustain it so that they can also benefit. They have what is called, what I call them, the double whammy. You're going to double it because they
yes, you speak to that,
from the presence of that. And so when it comes to immigration, the policies, there must be a policy that can be used to mitigate that, because when dealing with policies, you need to look at them from three perspectives: the short term, you need to look at it from the medium term, and look at it from the long term. So, so these are things that you have to look at them so that you can fix them. For example, you must find a policy that will bring about the returning Bermudians incentive. And what type of incentive are we putting in it? Because we need to have something there.
Well, that goes to what we started off with. What better an incentive? I mean, you can come up with multiple, and you talk about there are different models, but certainly incentives that says in your plan that this is what you stand to have acquired at the end of 10 years if you are disciplined, because there's a measure of discipline and responsibility for you as an employee too, that you must stay disciplined to, especially if we talk about an investment part of your plan. That if you are borrowing off that to survive, and that's part of the social protectionism that we're talking about, that as a government, you put certain things in place knowing that, hey, there are certain restrictions that you will place on your quote unquote citizenry of what they can take out of their plan. Because the bottom line is you want to think in terms of the rest of their life. That's your investment with them. Yeah? So we will want to encourage a type of investment plan that says is an attraction. If you're coming back home to Bermuda, this is the type of plan, and weigh it against where you were. What are you giving up? People will look at that.
The OC, the opportunity cost.
Yes. And of course, how do we also set up other forms of social protection for not just the youth demographic, but an aging demographic when it comes to the basics of housing in a place like Bermuda?
Very expensive.
What incentives can be put in place that says we will make this economical for you? Now, I know there's a lot of talk about alternative housing and things like that there, but in that scenario, isn't this also one of the part of the package, per se, when you talk about those key packages that they should be thinking of?
Absolutely right. 100% right on that. Because you need to find many incentives that will make them, for example, the aged, you need to find that packages for them. Because if, like you're saying, that if they're able to bring, let's say, able to manage in terms of accommodation and bring some reform on it, that soften it for them, right? This is one way that to motivate them to stay in, because they are benefiting from it. At the same time, they're also contributing into that.
Right.
Another way is also for those aged, you can give them tax breaks.
Now we're getting somewhere.
You can give them tax breaks.
I want to get into that in terms of, because you can't discuss this without speaking to dealing with the taxation. Tax reform.
Yes.
So where do we begin? I mean, certainly when we look at, for example, the government has, there's been, when we talk about the tax reform, there's been much talk of terms of the CIT, all right? The corporate income tax. Still, for the average Bermudian who hear of that, it isn't something necessarily that they feel in their budget, in their pocket, in their household. How do we, or how can the government assist in making tax reform somewhat of a benefit to its citizenry?
I think that is a very good question. And also, when dealing with tax reforms, first of all, the government need to be able to identify in terms of PPI, now so parity in terms of their income level, right? You need to sit with it and really, really work through this in order for you to see, because if you want to give breaks, you must give breaks on longevity. Example of services. Those with longevity of services is one way you can say, it's a kind of saying to you like a thank you, but it's not, but you're trying to make sure and say that we appreciate what you're doing, and from this you'll be able to do that. So one way is that government can look at it from longevity and say that if you serve continuously for this years, this is the amount of break you're going to get within the system, and you set them in motion. And this can be an engagement with all the stakeholders involved. You need to involve the stakeholders in decision making. It's really important. These are social eco items, and to always involve you putting the stakeholders together, which means the unions must play a critical role in that. All the other stakeholders must be engaged in that in order for us to find, because they will be able to go to the community and they will be able to get what the community sense of how they feel, and the government can sit and redesign that breaks for them, because they will be able to know exactly what type of breaks they must put per what years, and that will let the people know, because when the citizens know that when you put breaks for them, you can work to this and I'm going to get this percentage off, they'll be eager to work. And remember that when they do that, you are increasing productivity, not decreasing, because you are letting them put in the productivity. Simply say that the input over the output, whatever the people are putting in, and those are your resources that you need. The human capital is extremely essential, and therefore when they are performing with their skill sets and all the labor they're doing, you must give them some incentive that will motivate them to re-perform. In other words, it rejuvenate them that there's something that the government have our back.
You know, you're raising something here. And, let me just say, listening audience, we're having conversation here with Dr. David Anand of the Bermuda College, lecturer, economist, all the way from Ghana, people, right? And he and I had some conversation. I'll be there in December. So we're making connections right now. You know, Dr. Anand, when I hear that, again, as you were laying that out, and it speaks to, this is part of the model. This is forward thinking. I listen to that, and I take the position that in this country, public or private, but certainly in the public sector, in government, civil service, that everyone should be treated like some will say shareholder, I say stakeholder, a stakeholder in their own economic development, but in partnership with, like you said, if I put in, you just put it there, Lou, if I come in, if you're here for 10 years, here's what you stand to accrue in terms of your investment. If you're here for 15 years, here's what you stand to accrue, right? 20 years, 30, you know. And I put it that way because, again, when we compare our Gen Z, the future, with our current, right, our seniors who are either still in the game and those who are exiting, it's more than just giving you 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. A certificate, a plaque. No, in a place like Bermuda, we must see the economic value to the services that I've put into something. Placing it like that, in that model, is to me a model that conveys the identity of Bermuda, of Bermudian people. And to know, I mean, I was just looking at Corporation in Hamilton, full page ad of world servants, their employees, I'll be respectful, their employees who've given time, 35 years, 20, 25 years. And it had me thinking of the same, you know, of this company. I said, whoa, I know them guys. What is it that they have that comes out of that service? You know, yes, they have their package per se, But of those years of service in terms of the model that we're talking about, which is pushing, which should be part of the reform plan and committee that says, hey, we want to sit with our unions. And I don't think our unions are having this type of conversation. I'll have Chris and his guys in here, BIU especially, and BPSU. They're not, none of the unions aren't on that level. These are the type of negotiations that we should be doing with government, with employees, to say that, hey, every Bermudian employee, especially public servant employee, has his or her traditional, yes, pension plan, but your investment plan that gives that person a vision that 10, 15, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, this is what you would have accrued over this. Is it inflation proof? No, but it's conservative enough that it has you in for the long term, and it's protection. That type of plan. Yes. We have work to do.
A lot of work to do. Even when you talk to inflation, inflation can be anticipated, right? And therefore, when you are doing those plans, you can anticipate the inflation. Anticipated inflation, you can anticipate it and see, because you can look at simply your real inflation against your anticipated inflation. Also, you can look at your nominal inflation, the current inflation now, and you can anticipate what's going to happen. These are predictable objects that you can know. You can see in 5-10 years time what's going to happen, so you can anticipate it. Therefore, there must be a model that can speak to that even if inflation hit, inflation will not hit more than, I don't know, for God's sake, you're not going to go more than 20% inflation, obviously. So you can project a model that can cushion itself within that system, that even if inflation hit a little bit up, the system works for them. And therefore, the traditional system with the new model of investment attached to that will cushion itself to survive, and that will make it to grow efficiently. And the people that are in there will be able to enjoy, especially for the Bermudians, they will enjoy that all my sacrifices that I put in, my labor that I put in, this is the end result that I'm taking out of. And that will make them to really forge ahead, because one advantage of Bermudian is that longevity is an asset which other countries do not have. And therefore, people are stronger to work longer, but they just get demotivated and they stop it to go look for something else. Remember that even when they go out of the system have to take them back in, because there's skill shortage. Yeah. So everyone who is smarter think that, why must I wait for something? I'm going to take it out and go rest a little bit and come back again, and they're going to get employed again. So if you put a model that is inflation protected, that will help that model to sustain itself and to bring about the growth, and people will be able to work. And our seniors will be ready to stay in and enjoy the benefit of it. And that is one thing that, once again, our unions must stand and work. All right. Yeah. We mustn't be just on paper talking, but it must be something that is practical. When it comes to social, it's more practical, and therefore you need proper engagement where people can solicit different ideas, and together you can design a proper forum that to bring the reform that you need, that to be the benefit of the people. The government prime objective is to take care of the people. And therefore, the government need the other people to be the eyes of them.
And that's part of that social protectionist plan. And listening to you share it like that, it prompts me to think about when I think of the intellectual capital, the expertise that is at risk of being lost, that's at risk of handicapping the organizational structure to things. And this comes with, I guess, the model. And I want your perspective on this here, because this is something that occurs also where persons leave. You mentioned this. Persons leave and come back into, but they come back into because there's a recognition that even if we through immigration, we're pulling people in. We're still not able to bring in the expertise to sustain what we have in place. Exactly. So we got to call back
the experience.
The experience. In that model, is there the opportunity in that model to support the future who does not have the experience, who may not have the keen interest of doing 20 or 30 years, but has done 5 years already, and with another 5 years working with that expertise, acquires some of that expertise in a, I don't want to say a consultancy relationship, but a mentoring relationship.
That's it.
Could that be also part of the model that complements the investment aspect that we're talking about setting up?
Excellent, 100% right. Because those skill set, it is a direct skill set that you cannot get, because that human capital skill set is there with them, and therefore, anytime one person moves out, it's a drain. I mean, most people think that when talk about brain drain, it's about max exodus. It's not only about max. Even one person skill set is a brain drain. So the only way you can do is that those people must be pegged to the younger generation, where they can mentor them to gain that experience, skills that they can do. I mean, for example, let's say we are in education, so let's use education as more experience. You have people who have been in service for long, who have gained so much precious knowledge that the youth today, we do not have it.
Yeah.
We do not have that. We very impatient to learn, and therefore we want quick things to come as it comes quicker. But they have gained that so much fundamental knowledge that they can transfer that skill set to the youth. And therefore, one of the ways that you can do as a model is that you can peg them against the youth, the unexperienced, so that they can learn from them, to take over from them. So in other words, you're not directly saying that go out of the system, but you want a system in playing a part-time role in that system. You're still in the system, right. But you are playing a different role by you nurturing the unexperienced to become experienced until they exit the system in. And you doing so, you are not letting them go out of the model, and you are spending heavy on them, but you are taking them to a role that will say they will be there again. So you're not losing them, you're maintaining them, but they are playing a minor capacity role by nurturing the younger generation so that they can take over. Because
and not just that, it is that. Plus, all the talk about reprofessionalizing, there's simultaneously a reprofessionalizing going on with that person who has the expertise coming in and working with that younger person, almost in an internship, but as a mutual shared knowledge. And it brings me to this scenario that is in our workforce. We can't discuss anything right now and not speak to the implications of AI in our world.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
And I often share with my staff that, look, we don't compete. I'm not looking to compete with AI. I'm looking to work with AI.
Of course.
And working with AI implies that we must elevate a certain critical thinking consciousness that brings with it our creativity, right? Now, let's take that scenario. AI, the critical thinking, the creativity.
Exactly.
The expertise, quote unquote, brain drain, come back in. With the future.
With the future.
The future is touching and feeling this technology a lot more than
the old generation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so each one begins to teach one.
Yes. So what happens is that we're going to create solutions. not problems.
Oh, man.
Because
say that again, Dr. Anand. Say that. We're going to do what?
We create solutions
and not
problems. And that's what we need. Everywhere that we're able to find solutions, our development expands. In other words, we're able to increase the per capita and the growth within the economy because we need solutions. And those solutions, as we said, we can add them together. And this Gen Z have got the eye with tech.
Oh,
and
man.
you can help them to create solutions that will empower.
I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love working with the Gen Zs in my office building. You know, I mean, I make a lot of fun about it. You know, I'm the old guy, the oldest guy. But I enjoy engaging, you know, the ones who, especially one or two in particular, with the technology. And I mean, you know, sometimes I play like I don't know because I want to know more about what they know, right? And I'm saying, and you just hit the nail on the head. We have such a great opportunity before us in this. When we think in terms of, I use the language of sacrifices, the risk and all of that. But in this short 53 minutes that we've been having this conversation, in that scenario is our solutions to our problems.
That's it.
It's now bringing the political will, number one. There's got to be political will.
Obviously.
And not just the big P political will, the organizational political will where we are, right, in our organizations. You're at the college. I'm at the Department of Education. There are other departments throughout government. All have their politics. All have their politics with the composition and the profiles of what we just described. Your article clearly lays out the pro and cons, but with it also, when we see the pros, and I'm thinking through on all fronts, we've dug a little deeper and I've seen about 3 solutions to our scenario. It gets now to the will. How do we begin to, Dr. Anand, use you're at the college, use our institutions. Let's get there. Use our institutions with the tools of the technology to be about the resolutions to the greater problem that we have within, in and across government and across Bermuda that brings us together to improve the economic quality of life in Bermuda. What's required?
I think the first thing is to create forums, make them more available for people to have access to that. Remember that many people are in the vacuum because they don't know really what is going on. So the first thing is that to open the curtain for them to see what is going outside, and you allow them to be involved in that. So one way we can do is to create institutional knowledge set where people can be empowered from.
Yeah.
And that there is a CBA on it because there's a cost benefit on it, but the cost is a little bit lesser. The benefits outweighs because that's going to bring the solutions that we desire. And therefore, all other institutions from the healthcare to all different sectors must create that platform where people can come and gain that knowledge set that will create the solutions for that we desire. And that means that the will of the people must be allowed to offset the P, which is the political aspect of it, because you must allow the people to have access and gain. And when they share, then the P can sit on it and see how we can redress it. Remember, these solutions need to be redressed. And then if you don't address it the way that it's supposed to address, then you don't get the solutions that they want. Therefore, we must allow the will of the people to come from, like one of the greatest show we're on it, 102 Magic. People must have access and learn what is going on so that people have a lot of knowledge, Doc. And you need to create that platform where to allow them to go in there so that they can release that knowledge. Because you need solutions. We don't need problems. We already have the problems. We need solutions. And the only way that solutions can come is to allow the people to be empowered through share knowledge, one, where they can learn from those who have already in the system. The youth have got extreme knowledge.
How do we, you've been here 3 years. I learned, I've had the benefit of living abroad, working abroad, other cultures. I know what that's like. I've also learned of in an era of Bermuda as my earliest schooling, 70s, I was educated by some brilliant people from Bermuda and of Bermuda. When I look at my Bermuda today, and in Bermuda, we like to boast and project of the multinationalities represented here in Bermuda. In the scenario that you just outlined, that we've been talking about, the public and private, and there is to me in Bermuda no separation of the public and private when it comes to the quality of life in Bermuda. The greater enrichment, what I see before us right now that's not tapped into, is this wealth of cultural enrichment, knowledge, and skills. And I often say, anyone that's here is living their best life when we look at the rest of the world and what's going on. I just keep it real. I've lived,
Yeah, you're right.
I tell people straight, if you're living in Bermuda, you're living your best life right now when you look at any and everywhere else. And I've lived other places. And I'm saying that right now with what we're talking about, even in this scenario, with your expertise and knowledge and the intellectual discourse that you provide around this here, is some of our solutions. What is and has been your observation of the openness to receive?
I think for Bermudians, 100%. Bermudians are open-hearted people, culturally oriented, because Bermudians have traveled around, so when you come in, you see different dynamics when it comes to Bermuda, because the culture is extremely rich, because people have been multi-dimensional in so many aspects. So anyone who comes in already feel the peace. That is one. You can get it in Bermuda here. The safety net is extremely very good. However, one way that we can make it more better is that we need to boost our tourism.
All right.
Bermuda tourism is still not taking off the way it's supposed to be in comparison to other Caribbeans. And I say this in the context of different Caribbeans. For example, anywhere you go in the Caribbean, you feel tourism.
Yeah.
Bermuda, you feel tourism in Dockyard and St. George's.
Yeah.
In the front street right now, you don't feel tourism, right?
Yeah.
And therefore...
it's got to be an event or seasonal type of... It's very artificial to me.
Exactly.
And it's not artificial intelligence. It's just an artificial stagnation to me.
And it brings a lot of revenue, right?
Yeah.
Into the economy, into the GDP. Tourism is, I think, if it's not the third generator of revenues within the economy, third or second, I believe 100%. So on that, and so we can make it more, right, more vibrant, and we can tap into it. The government can receive, because remember, revenues are received. You are receiving in.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that we can do is to modify the way that our tourism industry is being catered, because we're making it too centralized tourism. It need to be decentralized, and that is something that
Dr. Anand, I'm chomping at the bit, as we like to say, as you're saying this here, because again, people, I'm looking at this age demographic. It's the same model and scenario. I've often said the solutions to our tourism is the inclusivity of the diverse representation that's here, but also it must have the energy, the foresight, the vision of the youth, weighted with the experience and capital of the elders.
Solutions.
You got me? Same. And it's the same model that goes with the pension plan that we talked about.
Exactly. Because the youth have got that skill set that they can use to create that industry to be vibrant, right?
Yeah.
And they need to be capacitated. They need to be empowered within this so that they can bring it out. They have them, it's in their fingertips, but they need somebody to say, hey, we are here. If you start, we're gonna let today, we'll allow them, then they'll bring the solution. The youth got the solutions. The solution is the youth.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you empower them rightly, they will bring the solution that we so desire, because we need that one. It's a model that needs to be looked at. Not only centralizing, occasionalize. It needs to be decentralized in a way that everywhere the youth will have their say in. But in Bermuda, the youth do not have. And most of them have become a max exodus.
Yeah.
Because they believe that is the only way that they can enjoy life, and they go only when people are a little bit aged, they want to come back.
They're not involved in the vision and the future of their livelihood that is Bermuda.
Yeah, and this is where they have to start from, right? They need to start from here by create a solution so that they can come and enjoy the same solution when they go out.
Those would be my pension patriots. You see, I don't use the definition of pension patriots that the UK use it. Those are what we just described. If we invest in them like that, that's my pension. Those are my pension patriots.
100% right.
They will be putting in because they're getting back.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's what we be doing.
Exactly.
Man, I'm turned on with this type of conversation because, we're regenerating the economy of Bermuda in a different way.
That's it.
There are greater possibilities out of this here.
Yeah.
It's the top of the hour, and I see all of you have been calling. As we say, we've had enriched conversation, titillating your curiosity, being provocative. What questions do you have of Dr. Anand about what we've talked about? You know how we do it, my people. Your opinions mean a lot, but you're not going to give a dissertation defense about your narrative, right? What questions do you have? We heard solutions. What are your thoughts about how we begin to unpack this? And let's just place it in the context and the theme of the show tonight. We don't want any pension prisoners. We want some pension patriots. And pension patriots are a combination of our elders and our youth, co-partners, stakeholders in the greater investment of Bermuda, where they both get their returns at the end of their service. Yeah? Can we go with that? Let's take a call. Good night, you're on all fronts.
Good night, Dr. Lou and Dr. College.
Dr. Anand.
Dr. Anand.
Yes, sir.
This reform of pension, and it seems like it's based around the civil servants. Is this going to be a blueprint after this? What you guys decide to come up with on how pension should be collected or be reformed? Would it cover everybody? I noticed you mentioned just before you closed out in your speech there about the private sector. We hear you discussing all about the civil service, but how about for the private sector? Because we have some issues in that particular, in the sense that the government workers are more capable of collecting their pension compared to the private sector. We have some issues where our pension is being taken out but not being put in. And of course, you know about those issues. So, that needs to be looked at as well. I'll call back and
I appreciate you putting it there.
Yeah.
Dr. Nan, you have a response to that?
Yeah, I think you're right on that. You're right on point on that, because we always, most of the time, we concentrate more on the public more than the private.
Servants, yeah.
The reason is that mostly the private sector are more individual-based organizations,
Yes,
and therefore they have their own institutional policy with regard to pensions. And sometimes them also, because so many of the workers do not do longevity services. Remember that.
Please hold, caller.
They do not do longevity services, and therefore their pension are just based on the years of your service, and then you get your pension out. So the percentage that is set for them, sometimes there's a little bit of variation with them with regard to the public sector pension. Some of the institutions, things are different. So obviously, yes, there are problems that are there, and I believe it's also come back to collective call, where all the private sector institutions need to sit and say, this is what we want to design, this is how we're going to go. If there are problems, they must find a solution. Therefore, if it affects one specific private sector, which means that there's there's a loophole in that industry that also need to be looked at. And the only way is just to have proper engagement with all those private sector stakeholders, and then they can find an amicable solution and setting. Say, let's say here we say we're going to do a 10%, let's say pension, 5 from the employee, 5 from the employer, and we attach you for a 2% saving investment that will make you multiply your growth. That is another investment strategy we started with. That will make them even get more than even the public sector. So there are solutions to that. But first of all, you need to identify the problem that is within, and then they can be able to set it up.
Because if I'm hearing this, that has like a matching component in it,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, got you. Caller, appreciate your patience. Go ahead.
Good evening, Dr. Lou. Good evening to you again.
Good evening.
Respectfully, I disagree with most of what you both are saying. It sounds to me like you're saying that we need to make this sacrifice, that sacrifice. We've made so many sacrifices for decades.
That's a generalization.
Let him finish.
I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
We've made so many sacrifices over the decades, and we haven't gotten any returns from these sacrifices that we've made. And as a result, that's why people are saying when it comes time for the pensions, that they're taking the larger amount, and a lot of our people are leaving the island. It's totally unfair for you to ask, or the government, or whoever it is, to ask us to do more in tourism and do more in this and that and the other, when we've done this. And we haven't received the benefits. It seems like all we're doing is giving all the benefits to the foreigners, foreign companies and the foreign workers, and the Bermudian people are being disenfranchised. I mean, look at it. Let me just go over it real briefly. You got St. Regis down in St. George's.
Right.
The OBA gave them permission to have 65% foreign workers at that hotel.
Right.
That's disenfranchising Bermudians. Then you've got the airport. We lost the airport. The airport post office is now at Mills Creek. Is costing us $300,000, a month or a year? I can't remember, but it's $300,000.
Okay.
You've got the Bermudiana that just finished. That was supposed to be for Bermudians. Then they said they're going to turn it into a hotel. Now you say you're not going to put Bermudians up there when people need places to live. And now you're talking about you want to stick people in containers when the PLP promised to build housing up at the Morgan's Point.
All right.
The Morgan's Point Hotel was failed.
I got you.
$250 million.
I got you. Let us stretch this conversation in the context, because you make some good points. You make some good points. Let us respond to what you've shared.
And we're not getting any benefit.
Thanks a lot. In the caller's exchange, there's some merit to what he's saying in terms of what has been sacrificed and who is sacrificed. With it also, and this is where I probably beg to differ, in the tourism scenario again, if we don't do it for ourselves, no one's going to do it for you. And I think in the context of what we were sharing, this is what we have to do some things for ourselves, but in doing it for ourselves is to use the strength of all of our resources before us, keeping in mind that, hey, just like we said, for the Gen Z, their future in this pension scheme is something that could be at risk if there isn't a proper investment that takes into consideration what they bring into it. So we're saying that with the tourism, you got to be doing it with the youth. And with the youth would imply that, we can probably come with a tourism product, uniquely Bermudian, yeah? But that shows a mutual investment of younger Bermudians, but the younger Bermudians understand that it's almost, this is your business.
Yeah.
This is your business.
Yeah, there's a gain.
There's a gain for you.
Yes.
To multiply this.
Yes. So the caller, thank you. I believe that in our introduction section, he missed. So we're not saying that what worked and you're not gaining from it. We're trying to say how to make it to sustain itself and grow in that. And that is why we've gone through and used different examples, using tourism as yardstick as an example, that we can sustain it and make it grow when you use it like the Gen Z. Because the older generation, senior generation have worked for it. And therefore, they need to benefit from that. That is why one of the problems with the pension scheme was that it's going to deplete it, because if they're going to take it out, we don't have any mechanism to sustain, there's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And therefore, how do we sustain that? That's what we're trying to say. There are so many mechanism models that we can use to regenerate it, to grow on that. And therefore, all those examples that is accurate, right, when it comes to more expert taking control, because the government, that is more political oriented, but we're looking at it from the economic perspective of the growth that can come within that. So it's a good question. The generation that we have here, we have three generational set. Gen Z, the middle age between 40 to 55, and we have the 55 to 70, 80 who go in retirement.
Yeah.
Each of those categories need a system that will sustain them in. So the question is that what do we do in making sure that we'll be able to maintain, so that, for example, the old can go out and receive their lump sum without them shaking the economy, and then the next group can also benefit from without shaking the economy, and the next 20 years, the Gen Z that are coming can also work through and benefit from that. So there's a mechanism where the government have to restructure.
Yeah.
Restructuring.
With this restructuring that we are advocating, and has been put forward, when you talk about the pro and cons and those 6 keys that we're talking about, we've added to those keys. I've heard some things. I hear in this also how when we talk about healthcare, no matter your age, healthcare, there's lots of noise right now. Government's considering universal healthcare. In this scenario, to me, it warrants probably a similar sit-down conversation that goes with the type of pension plan and the model that we are proposing.
Yeah.
I make an argument, because I do believe in universal healthcare. I believe in universal health care for our elderly and our very young. For in between, there's a management of your health care through, whether it's through government or whether it's through private sector, right? Blended with, and I think all of that goes with your pension plan.
That your hybrid,
It's a hybrid.
Yes.
That's part of the model that we should be sitting and having discussions about, and putting, some very clear action planning.
Exactly.
When we look at our age demo, you just laid it out. When I talk about out of the womb, we're not producing children. Number one.
Yeah, shortage. Yeah.
It's a shortage.
Yeah.
But I certainly want to take care of the children that we do have.
Yes.
And of course, the number one care is in their safety and well-being. Yeah. An aging population, you're looking at the same thing.
Yes.
I want to take care of their safety and well-being.
Yeah.
But that comes with, you got to look at the improvement of your health, disease, and all of that. In between, the same thing too. But hey, you're driving, you're sustaining us. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's in that model that we have to consider some of these things.
It is. It is
Yeah.
really. Is it
Yeah.
really?
Please hold, caller. Oh, sorry.
Is it really important to consider what you just said? Because we need
Please
to
hold,
have,
caller.
we need to have a proper hybrid health system that is universally sustainable to them. Like you just said, you hit right on the nail. So the children between the ages of 0 to 15, they need to be able to have universal access.
Yeah.
Right? And the same from 60 all the way up, they need to also have the universal. And then between that, those gap in there, they are the energetic middle income growing, where they can have either governmental one or private. They can have different schemes that they suit them because they are able to take care. But the aged cannot take care of that because it's very expensive for them.
Yeah.
Neither is the children or the adulthood, the young adolescent age. They cannot take care of.
We're in such a great place in Bermuda to be very innovative. And yes, I mean, okay, everybody, like I said, AIs and everything, but it is being used other places
Exactly.
to solve this issue.
Yes.
We got to find how can it serve us. Yeah? Cole, I appreciate your patience. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Lou, I'm back. I just wanted to mention the reason why I brought up that last part, and this is part of the reason, in the sense that when it comes to pension being collected for the government or the private sector, it's the government is the receiver of that money, right? So if I was to come to the pension age of 65, I get my pension directly from government, right? Now, the government is the one that is responsible for collecting that pension.
Yeah.
And then we see sometimes where, the pension fund overall that the government has been collecting is not up to par to where it should be, right? We have these issues, right? They need to take into serious consideration in the sense that pensions has been collected from the pensioner, the private worker, government worker, and been put into this particular fund to issue out during the time they're receiving of this money. And it's not been put in there by the private sector, definitely being put in there by the government, because that's the civil service, and I'm making sure they get
But we wouldn't expect the private sector to put anything into that.
No, I'm talking about when you're working for, I'm not talking about the investment, I'm talking about when you are working for a private sector.
Okay.
They're taking out your pension and your insurance for government to take care of you, blah, blah. I'm talking about that part. And when you get to the age of 65, the money is not there. You find out this company or that company you work for has not been putting the money into your pension fund or your insurance or whatever the case may be. There are thousands of cases like that. This is the reason why government may find its own self short in taking care of other people's pension during the time in which they need to offer up, because they're not being proactive in the sense of whoever's responsible for receiving private pension money is not doing their part as far as the law is concerned, number one, where they should be taking these, it should be the government that's representing these people for pension not being paid into the funds in which they should be paid into.
All right.
Not us chasing around with lawyers and this and that. When we get up to the age of 65 and find out the company I've been working for the same 25, 30, 40 years that you've been working for government, I've been working for a company for the same thing. And then when it comes to the money in which I should be receiving, it's not there, but it's government's responsibility who is collecting this money. And then you finding out at the end that the money's not been coming in.
All right. Let us respond to that. Let us respond. You've given us much food. Yeah.
I think it's the right point you hit it on. So, which means that the government have got the responsibility to monitor. In other words, it means our monitoring evaluation system. There's a loophole within that. Because as an employee, you only just know that it's been taken from you, and that money is going into the government. So employee will not know until when he's ready to go, want to see how much do I have in order for, and then you find that it's not there. So the responsibility now must not be laid on the government for them to say, early you just trying to go into the pension and say, I want to see how much am I earning. Just you can go and see, and if you be able to let you understand that there's something going on, and you can bring to attention these issues. But if you wait till the last minute, then obviously that's going to be a challenge. So the government institution who is responsible in terms of the pension fund, I think they need to strategize it up, because you don't know how they are working with the private sector, and it's really we cannot give you an accurate response with regard to this, because if government will say that we've been doing it and you also saying something different. So what I will advise or encourage is that you must let your institution that you're working with know that your pensions are not going, and what is the problem that is causing that, and you can readdress it to the government, so that if there's something wrong, you'll be able to mitigate it as early as possible.
I hear in that Carl's scenario, like I said, when I was at UD, I mean, I used to appreciate being called in, and we'll go over my pension, especially from the investment perspective. Here where things are. Here's what you could do with this, Lou. Do you want to do this? Do you want to keep it where it is? You keep it where it is. This is where it potentially will grow. All of that. And I think it's that type of scenario that the caller gets at. Caller, I appreciate your patience. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to come at you from a different angle, right?
Go ahead.
Look, Bermuda's got a lot of expatriates working here, and thanks to people like Full Star and all those type of places, they hire 90% of foreign workers, right?
Right.
Now I work with them, and they most of the guys, when they get paid, that money leaves. If they get paid at 1 o'clock, by 1:30, that money's going back to the country.
Yeah.
And then they keep her as rent money and probably a little bit of gas money, and they have to buy clothes to go to the barn. I mean, they are living, then that's the life. That's how they do it, right?
Yeah.
All that money goes straight home. What I was thinking is how about if they put an extra tax on that money?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to, when they finish in about 10 or 20 years, they're going.
Yeah.
Before that Bermuda money going. So why can't Bermuda say, okay, we put extra $10 on everything that you make?
Let us stretch that there, because I knew this one was going to come up. You're raising a very important point, because this one's out there. Thanks a lot, caller. Dr. Anand, taxation on that. I mean, I've heard of this before, and I know there are other countries actually who do impose a tax on their expatriate workers in terms of fund monies that go out of the country.
Yeah. You know that is a good system, but at the same also it makes those expertise not want to come, because they know you know that they are paying extra on it. So I believe that one of the systems that the government can do is the government can work in collaboration with these financial institutions where their money is going, so that they are taxed, because any money that goes, they pay a rebate on it, right?
Right.
So that rebate can be worked through the financial institution, not coming from the government, because when it's coming from that financial institution, then they will really understand it better off than saying that the government say, I'm going to raise an extra 2% tax on your money going up. Because remember, when they were living there, they were already having a system in the place for them, and they are here, so they have to let their money go out of the system, which sometimes is difficult for you to control, because they need to take care of their bills also there. So the financial institutions now can redesign a mechanism where they can just charge a little bit higher than the normal rate. That is the only solution. But the government cannot say, I'm going to put on, let's say, extra 5% when your money is going out. You're not going to get those expertise, especially if you have a shortage of skilled, you need them. You're not going to get them, because people are going to be having the same issue and that having that. Why must I be paying extra? So this is a very sensitive situation, but I believe one of the ways to address this is through the financial institutions, where the government can engage with them and see what is the best outcome, what's the best way we can make sure that the revenue, some of them can stay in. And remember, even all our financial institutions on this island are not from Bermuda. HSBC, every year the money goes away. There is a big institution.
Yeah,
right. So you can say how much is going out of it. So that is already a financial institution. Already is an institution that also have all the same problem, taking all the funds out of the system. So it's something big.
I'm glad you put it like that. I mean, we don't. Interesting. We don't think in terms of HSBC, even Butterfield, that it is really going out of the country.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Food for thought. Good night. You on all fronts.
Yeah, I'm just saying, guys, just got one more little small part to add to that.
Go ahead.
Most of the foreign workers that I know, and you can try this experiment for yourself, most of them got their own business back home of what they're making here. Most of them, they show me, most of them got like a couple of houses, cars. Large.
They're Bermudians doing the same. They're Bermudians doing the same thing.
They're not going to pack their bags and go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now. That's a myth.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, no, but you're right. But you may have missed this earlier. You may have missed this earlier. That's something that we did say. We said that. We said that earlier that they're not going to go. You know, people. No, of course not. No. Of course not. Not with the capital. Not what you're going to make here. No, they're not.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, though.
So that's why they put an extra $10 on it. That's all.
Well,
anyway,
I got you.
I'm listening.
It's food for thought.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Interesting thought. Yeah.
But like I said, other countries they have done that or are doing that. For a place like Bermuda, it's not to say what it can't be done. But we have, I guess we're thinking of it in the context of the type of economy that we drive here. And to, like you said, to impose that type of tax, I mean, that's not something that you would, I'm not saying it wouldn't be raised in tax reform. Our tax reform, I mean, when you talk about income tax and when you look at what we're doing right now, the corporate income tax, is part of our tax reform. But we certainly need to look at the role that taxation plays in our whole pension fund. Yeah?
Yeah, it's really important. Yeah.
Of course, we talk about payroll taxation and all of that. But the whole tax scheme goes with the pension scheme.
Yes, exactly.
And it warrants that sit-down, innovative conversation of all of us. Like I said, there are multiple models.
Yes, and the tax system is the system within which the government receives the revenue.
Please hold, caller.
That's where the government get most of its revenues coming from, and therefore, if they want to institute any reform, they need to sit on it and really work it out because. That is actually the engine of government investment because it's just the same tax that they use in their spending. Remember, when looking at the GDP, we don't want to go there now. That is your tax coming there for the government spend because the revenue that they receive is what they are using to bring about growth. And also improve living standard. And this is another topic on this, so that if you want to break, it's going to be another story. So it's really good system, but it need to be looked at. If the government want to impose any reform on it, they must engage and then they can see. Because actually, even like I just mentioned to you, all those financial institutions are not Bermudian based.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you are saying they're going to tax them, it means that you are trying to say that they have to take their service out of the island. And that's going to be a problem.
Well, your banks are not Bermudian based.
Yes.
We think they are because they ever are not.
Yes.
Go ahead, caller.
Dr. New, in the interest of protecting the average private pension person, in the sense that government is the collector, and I did it with the doctor said about you could check for yourself or whatever, but that's not should be the responsibility of the pension person. That should be the responsibility of the government because they are the ones that's collecting the money. They are the ones who know who you're working for and then et cetera, and like that. Because everyone that hires someone is supposed to inform the government that this person is working for them and this money in which they're sending in is going into this person's name. What we're supposed to be receiving from government, with this AI and all this stuff. Let's put some of that to work. Let's bring up a way that we can put that into AI or whatever. Let's use them to be more monitoring of the private sector in the sense that we should be receiving a report back from government saying to them that my pension, so far your pension is being paid by this person, that person, and you're up to this amount of money or that amount of money, and all of what you are supposed to be paying into government to collect for your insurance or whatever it is up to date. This is the part that government, the
the civil service do get a statement that shows where, how much is on their pension. Civil service do receive that. They do receive a statement that shows what's on their pension, how much they have accrued over the years.
Then you would have black and white, hard copy information that you can take to the courts or whatever the case may be, because government is the collector.
I got you.
They're losing the responsibility as being the collector, and then not informing the people in which these money is supposed to be going into their thing from the private sector, money being taken out. And of course, money is not going in, and the government should be responsible and held accountable for that not being corrupt.
Point taken. All right, point taken.
Thank you.
Good night, you on all fronts. Turn your radio down. Thanks a lot.
Yes, I did. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I think what that guy is talking about, he's talking about the social insurance, where we give on a monthly basis. And what we put in when we retire, we get that amount of money. We get it back.
Right.
Now, I know it really is about, I think, $30 to $60 on a weekly basis that we have to put in. Over a year, I think it works out to be like $3,500. And if people think about it, I feel they think that they should get that money back if, like a family member should get that money back if somebody passes before they go 65. But if you think about it, the maximum most people are getting now is from social insurance pension is about $1,700 a month. So in 3 months,
that's true,
you would have paid your amount of money. So that part there, I'm happy with what government gives to us as seniors for our pension. And then the other plan, I call it the National Pension Plan, whereby you have the matching donation from your employer for the years that you work. And then if you wanted to, you could have put in voluntary.
Right.
And then when you retire, you can take that lump sum of the voluntary.
Yes.
If you wanted to, you could take that. But I strongly believe that I don't think anyone should be getting a lump sum of their entire pension, because that money can roll like the door in no time flat. And so if anybody's asking...
Although people have the option of doing that, of taking their lump sum.
Well, I know that's one of the, when you go 65, that is, I don't think you can get it. I still don't think you can get the lump sum.
But
I think you can get an amount, and then, because I saw that, and when you die, well, that will go into the pool or something like that. But I don't think you can fully get a lump sum with your national pension plan. I don't think so. Because, like I said, money can roll out the door. You can use it for this, that, and the other.
Good one. So that is where the government, for example, need to prepare them. We spoke about it from the hourly discussion. Remember, even if it's going to take 100, it's a lot. People need to be prepared to know how they're going to use it, because trust me, like you just mentioned, it will go like water quickly. So people need to prepare so that they will know how, when they are empowered, they will know how to reinvest it. I mean, if you take just, let's say, your 100 and go and put in, like Devin say, a saving plus that gives you an interest of 2% per, you get something out of it. People must know. But if the person just take it and is gonna go there now, he's going to spend it, it's gonna go. So this is where that engagement need to come in, that you prepare them, not being shocked out of the system, but you need to prepare them that if you're getting this now, this is how you're going to roll about. You can go this way, and regenerate again from the same system that you are. So we give you this, you can go. So I thank you for that.
I think the encouragement is not to take a large sum. It's
Not
always
to take- I would say not to
it's to
take the lump
leave a sum, where at least you're getting enough to sustain yourself for the year.
Yes.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
Takes care of your essentials, your basics.
Yeah.
If you need
along
rent,
with
if you need those type of things. Yeah.
But
and
also-
that along with your social insurance, that should be able to, it should be pretty good. And because, not putting all my business on the street, but I did put some of my voluntary money into my pension so that it will up my pension even more. You know what I'm saying? And so that helps. And then the other thing, Mr. Saw, you said his name was? I'm sorry.
Dr. Anand. Dr. David Anand.
Dr. David Anand.
Annan. Yeah.
Okay. Someone was saying, like, for our social insurance, this is the one we pay to government. I feel that government should send us a statement every year, and then we can easily find out if my employer has been putting the funds in or not.
Yeah, I think that's what that.
It's been deducting it from my salary.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's up to me to be going to government to ask for that. And I do remember back in the day when they first started the pension plan, they used to have stamps on a card, and we had to sign off at the end of the year to say, okay, well, all the stamps were filled. But then what's been happening, like the guy was earlier saying, that you're deducting it from my salary, but you're not sending it to social insurance.
Yeah,
right.
So here again, just before you continue, here again is where our various institution unions come into play, because they have the responsibility to ensure that the government is doing it, because the government was doing that stamps is stopped, right? So for you to get an annual returns in, most of the all employers we belong to various unions, and the unions must take that up to the government and say, we need financial statement. These are statements. They can print it out. They can send it to email, not even emails. People can have their emails and they can just pull it. You can see the inflows and the outflows of it. That's something that is very doable. That can be done.
You said union?
If you belong, if you don't belong, they say if they create that awareness, the government can send it to the employees.
To the individual.
To the individuals. You can have them on a yearly basis. The government can release them to you on a yearly basis, and you can see your inflows and outflow that is coming, so that if there's any discrepancy, you can address it. And this is something that needs to be put into play. And it's really important that you raise it.
Government are saying that they're going digital now, so this is one area they can go quickly go digital, because they print out that form on a monthly basis when they send it to you that you're going to pay. Well, they should be able to put a form, do that. Just real quick is the fact that if I'm working for somebody, they're deducting it from my salary. I would know that they haven't paid it or not. And then you can get yourself into trouble if you go to your boss and say, well, why don't you pay this? Then you look, they want to fire you.
You're a problem maker.
It's a hell lot of stuff. A hell lot of stuff going on. But we do need to do. I was thankful that my boss paid my pension, but you've heard people say, my boss wasn't paying it. So if you're in the position now, get some reports out on a yearly, at least a yearly basis. It can be 6 months, really. Everything is digital now, so we should be able to get a report.
Yeah, we concur on that one, definitely. There should be no shortage of report. I mean, we live in an age of surveillance.
Yes, exactly.
So we know, everybody knows that a report, some digitized profile is there on you.
On us.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, you can't move.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
Even your what is it? Your favorite shopping place
That's right. It's so
Has
true.
your habits.
You hear the fight too much, they end up telling you
They know
something
exactly what you like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and actually, you can download that report.
Yep.
There are sites that even allow you to do that.
Yeah.
I appreciate
But anyhow, thank you so much.
You're welcome, dear.
Enjoying it.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah. I wanted to, and just to give people some of the context, we've been talking, I've been using the term pension prisoners and pension patriots. And, I hope, we really wanted to give the callers, just a moment. Please hold, caller. Wanted to give you, the callers, at least a frame of reference. I mean, as we're having this discussion in terms of the pros and cons of pension reform in Bermuda, so much of the discussion focuses on those really right now who are on the path toward retirement, those who are anywhere between 60 and 68 or 70 because it's extended now. But when we think in terms of the future of this here, we have to think in terms of the younger age demographic. When we talk about our millennials, younger, it is they who, when you talk about run the risk, if folk are speculating what they will get or what you will get, that age demographic stands the risk of working beyond age 70. So these are things that we have to give consideration to. Thanks, caller, for being patient. Go ahead.
And Dr. Lou, just one quick thing. The tax structure. Mm-hmm. Historically, it was talked about way back in the 1950s. Government tried to pass it and it failed. Jumping forward, way forward, 2018, Ralph Commission was working on the living wage.
Right.
It was finished. The living wage was put together. All the documents and all the figures and everything was done. And it says we can put this into place in 2019. Mm-hmm. And then they said, oh, wait a minute. We forgot to do the tax structure. They had these meetings at St. Paul's and Tanya Hall on the tax structure to go with the living wage, and nothing was done.
Right.
So just playing the people for fools. And here we are, 2026, and we're still talking about a tax structure, and nothing has been done. These governments are just making fools of the people. That's what they're doing.
Well, we hope we're not going to let them make us fools of this pension reform, although it's been very clear of what the pros and cons are and what the risk factors are, especially for those coming from behind. Yeah.
So they said they believe it's going to fail because there's not enough money in it.
Well, let's see. Thanks a lot. Let me. There was. I know in your article, Dr. Anand, you mentioned in terms of the risk of the funds not being there at some point. Now, and of course, the funds not being there. I mean, we touched on that in terms of if there's such an exodus of any kind, certainly it depletes the funds. With it also is the risk of, let's place it, we've been talking a lot on the show here in terms of the geopolitics of the day.
Yes.
We can't dismiss that. The geopolitics of the day, what we are faced with. I mean, every day we are being forewarned about, Bermuda's economy goes the way of the U.S. economy. And when we look at what's happening globally right now, with what the caller's talking about, I mean, there's that risk where there's depletion to the package, the fund.
Yes.
So we know and we don't know. But what we do know is where we are right now.
Yes.
And where we are right now, we are in a position
Critical one.
to meet the needs of those who stand to gain from what is right now, as we also need to as you suggested, there are multiple models that we can look at right now that we can take into consideration. And that's what we should be giving our attention to. What are the best models right now for those persons who post March 2027?
That is an interesting question. I believe here also the reason why we are in this driving seat right now is that people are still going to take it irrespective of what is happening. And therefore, it just says that it's just going to draw backwards instead of regenerate, because the government have done excellent by mitigating this now and say that this is what we're going, because it's going to be rolling on basis, which means that this reform can still be readjusted as we move along. Even though it's a reform, so it can be amended as we move along, even though implementation is taking effect in April 2027. But it's still, there are ways that they can still look at it again and say, okay, these are areas that we think there are loopholes that we can re-modify it as we move along. And this means it comes with simply a collective effort. In other words, the government must try to look at. So, for example, let's use one example of the Sweden model, which says automatic adjustment and strong governance. All right. So in Sweden pension model, it features just simply a balancing mechanism that I call them the brake. In other words, it just makes sure that it takes away liabilities and create more pension reallocation that are automatically adjusted to restore balance. All right. Now this is managed by simply being more transparent. All these colleagues are worried about transparency, which they don't feel it. If you look at them saying, we go there, we cannot find it. Independent public pension agency, then these people will be in charge of those, and they are responsible in making sure that they bring about this. So what happened to this model is that it creates about what is called superannuation guarantees. Right. So every employer will have that fixed mandatory pension that they do. So we're into a private investment savings account, automatic guarantee. So the system will just create that growth and it started creating growth by 3%, moving upwards. So it's an automatic model that will sustain it. So you know that that superannuation guarantee is there for you because there's a specific saving private investment that is attached to that model that will create that growth for you. So it's automatic guarantee that when you go out, you can take that one and still have your pension, government pension there. Because you have two, your savings, one is growing, so you're going to take that lump sum from your saving, vis-a-vis taking the lump sum from the government pension, and that will grow for you. So it brings about, it creates more massive pool of private capital into the system than you taking it out of the system. Right. So this is one example that we can look at. So this one simply complements the public pension with the private investment savings account, and that brings about growth. So this one
with that description that you just gave, Dr. Anand, is that, often in the U.S., for example, when I say they talk about putting your money in an ROI, return on investment, right? Which sounds somewhat comparable.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Again, these are some of the greater possibilities for us that we should be presenting for our people to say that, look, because if you know that you're putting, it's like dividends. Every month or so, I'm gonna be collecting something based upon what I put into it, and it's almost like that. If we provide that opportunity for our people, where they understand that you get your return on investment, you put something in, maybe weekly or monthly, you're getting this back based upon what you put in.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. You can decide to let it continue to mature, or multiply, or you can pull from it. Those type of scenarios, which is when I think of these things in terms of maybe people do CDs, for example, and you could pull and draw off your CD account after so many weeks or months and so forth with a penalty. But with these other options for our people. It gets back to us putting forward those other opportunities, especially for our young people, caller, where they see the potential of their financial growth.
Exactly.
In such an investment.
Exactly.
So it's attractive to them now.
Yes.
And they begin to see a greater possibility of their financial future growing.
Yes.
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah, 100%.
Caller, go ahead.
Good night, Dr. Simmons.
Good night.
My question to Dr. Anand, is he a consultant to the Bermuda College administration, or is he a consultant to the Bermuda government?
He's well, they use the term lecturer. He will be considered a professor in university. So yeah, he's a lecturer at the Bermuda College.
Amari Ghani, doctor.
Yes.
How are you doing? All right?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
Very well, thanks. Karibu. Welcome to Bermuda.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
You're practicing your Swahili.
Your Swahili now I can see. Yeah.
I know about 5 words.
Keep growing it. Keep growing it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you very much for your professional advice, and I hope to meet you sometime very soon. I'm studying your language.
Okay.
And I'm enjoying the language very well.
Oh.
Very much.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
One thing I'd like to ask, are you working along with the insurance companies in Bermuda as well? The type of work that you're carrying out, that you're doing?
Is that a part of your courses at the college, Dr. Anna?
Yeah, we have this financial program that has been instituted, and we really encouraging people to take it up. Bermuda is a financial hub in the world, and therefore it is really prudent for the institution like the college, the only institution on the island, to have that, because it's better for us to empower the youth here so that they can work through. One of the ways that the college is trying to plow back into the system is to grow them in so that we can have the same actuaries that more expertise are coming. We can grow them here also. So it has been rolled into the system. It's already in operational. So we encourage people to come in and enroll into the college. It's really one. So based on that, I'm not on any financial institution board. I'm just a professor, college professor. Sir.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, I'd like to agree with you with respect to what you said earlier in your conversation about town hall meetings. We can't have enough of those. The more we have it, the better it will be. It will turn out to be for our people to be informed about what they need to do. Because we know our young population is not growing like the elderly population in Bermuda.
Right.
We need to get the young people into these meetings, and they can make invaluable contributions going forward.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like we've been saying, sir, in terms of, getting them involved through the perspective and lens where they see the short-term gain. We're playing into the psychology of youth, but also the long-term gain and benefits for them, So you're absolutely correct. Yeah.
Have a great night.
You too, sir. Thanks a lot.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
I was mentioned, but I said ROI, but I was thinking of the Roth IRA in the U.S., which is a retirement tax fund.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about this, in terms of the superannuation, the Roth can work like that also.
Exactly.
Or it works like that. You put 7,000. I think annually you could put up to 7,000 on it. You watch it grow.
Yeah. So you do a lump sum one-time sacrifice.
Yeah.
And one of my colleagues would say, just look away.
Yeah.
Investment is a sacrifice. Just look away.
Yeah. The long term.
Just look away. Just put it in and just look away. And over time, you'll be amazed the returns that will come out of it.
Yeah.
And this is something that need to be said. I mean, if we have pegged our dollar, our Bermuda dollar to the U.S. currency, then obviously we can take the model, the RA, the U.S., and we use it here, and it will work perfectly.
Yeah.
And this is where you can educate people and say, look here, instead of you just putting the money into the bank that you get no return on it, why don't you put 7,000 away permanently for 5-10 years and see. You can give them breaks within 5 years, go and see what you got in 10 years, because it's multiplying itself on that. Then people will be amazed how much they're getting back in it. And from there, the whole system begin to flow that way. There you go, revenue streams, it flows, and that creates what is called.
And when you think of it like that and put it like that, there again, the attraction for our youth, they see that revenue, the greater potential of that revenue stream for them, the older they're getting. You know what I mean? Those are the type of incentives and programs we need to put in place to, sustain our young, but also to enrich the quality of life for our elderly.
Exactly. Improve living standard. Very important.
Good night, you're on all fronts. Oops. Good night, you're on all fronts. Good night.
Doctor, just listen to what the doctor just said. Looking at that, right?
Yes.
Shouldn't that be automatic in the sense, okay, if government is collecting our pension money, whatever way, either through social insurance or whatever, of course, is being invested back into government, but how much of interest is accumulated in all of that money that is being taken? And of course, you as the individual person that's putting that money in there, shouldn't there be an automatic, shouldn't that be some sort of automatic investment or increase or no, I'm talking about when it comes to interest. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just there for 65 years.
Right.
And I'm attitude, is there an interest? The government is making interest on that money, but is it being reflected back to the pensioner or the person that's going to receive that money? Because I'm giving you this money every year. For every, like the lady said, it could run up to so many $1,000 a month or whatever the case may be, depending on how much you're putting in there.
Right.
But the kickback on the interest of that is not coming to you. It's automatic. The interest is automatically there.
Right.
But it's not being reflected back when it comes to picking up your pension.
Okay.
A good point.
Thanks a lot.
I believe the government duty is that the government is investing that money into and growing the pension fund. So the government is doing it automatically because the money is not just sitting there. They are putting them into a sustainable fund because we're looking at the whole economic as a whole, right? So the government is reinvesting that money in. So it's not that the government is collecting and they're not investing because it's not sitting. It's working. But the turnover that is coming is not enough.
It's not enough to sustain.
That is why we're suggesting a model that will make you as an individual, if attached to yours, it's going to make you be more financially sound because you have two streams of pension. We say the investment one is one and this one is one. That will make you to take away the weight that we become dependent on our investment from the government front, but we cannot know that we have other side also that is growing out of it. So that one, government is doing it, and there's no question about that.
Gotcha.
You cannot fault government on that because it's really investing in that. That's what they're doing. They're taking the money for. The money is not sitting.
Good. Top of the hour, man. I mean, I appreciate you. 2 hours strong, and it's been very insightful, engaging, like we say, food for thought. And with it, as we like to do, on all fronts, as we're discussing the challenges, we're bringing solutions. And I heard solutions. It's the will, really, to exercise some solutions before us. Probably the most challenging solution that I heard of this here is something that many callers really have been wrestling with, where they feel the problems that are out there, whether it's economic, whether it's social issues around gangs, whether it's employment, tourism, it's the same scenario that keeps coming up in the conversation, and we address it tonight. In terms of using the strength of Bermuda's people, the quote-unquote diverse range of Bermuda's people, public and private, to be about our solutions, to not just improve our economy, but also to enrich and improve the quality of life here in Bermuda.
Yes.
And I think we need to, whether it's at the college or any of our other institutions, this is the type of advocacy that we need to be putting forward, to be challenging our legislators.
Yes.
That when the Home Affairs Minister, Minister Alexa, yes, she's doing the town halls and all of that. The people must clearly see the evidence of what they have spoken to be part of the solutions acted upon. And I think that's what people don't feel that they're getting back. That they're saying things, they're talking, and I think a previous caller said it. Yeah, we're talking, but we're not seeing the evidence of it. Yeah.
So implementation.
Implementation.
Is a problem.
So we hope, Dr. Anand, that this is not the last time. It won't be the last time.
Obviously.
I like to bring these type of conversations to the Bermudian public, and we have a great opportunity before us to make more sense of this whole pension scheme. With it, there are great opportunities for us to invest and reinvest in it.
Cost correct.
Yeah, cost correct. And do so, yes, as we are talking about those who are aging out, but those who are aging up, which means the future.
Yes.
That's the sustainability of it.
Yes.
We have to be doing something innovative with them to sustain the longevity of the scheme that benefits not just them in their elderly years, but those of us who are already in it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And we look forward in that the government will take it in a good faith and begin to realign it into a system that will bring that growth, because we all want, at the end of the day, proper sustainable growth for the economy. So it is our belief that there are so many ways that we can course correct it and try to remodify it, because it's an ongoing, and through this we'll find proper mechanism where the whole community will be engaged in that, and through that to bring that growth that we need. Because if there are causes and there are no solutions, implementation, then there's a problem. So
the whole community is in it, and we build that community wealth building.
Exactly.
Yeah. Each one teach one. Yeah. Hey, you've been listening to On All Fronts. And like we say every week, we don't fight on any one front. We fight on all fronts. Keep the peace, people. Keep the peace.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone.
Looking for a venue that truly has it all? Cedar Bridge Academy is your one-stop location for every kind of event, big or small.
Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now.